Computer recording in progress. Okay, so I was just talking to Jessica. Everyone, this is Jessica. She just completed a couple of weeks ago my 12-week online program, and I'm going to give her a second. I'm going to give her a minute to share like where she came from, like where she was at with her fitness and health and everything when we first started talking, how long it took her to like decide that whole process for you, and then what your experience was in the program. I want, because everyone has something a little different that they get to share. So, and yours is so amazing. And I hadn't told you, busy bees that we are, we did not do necessarily a recap. I'd kept an eye on your measurements and everything. And then I was like, I'm going to go back because there's a few I'm keeping track of. So our thing is like inches, right? We want to lose inches. We really worked mentally on giving up the scale and the number on the scale, right? And that's a little hard. That shift is.
No, I was happy to.
Well, good.
It's always been the devil.
So we haven't talked about it, but you lost over 21 inches.
Really? Oh my gosh. I would not, I mean, I know I saw a transformation. I would not have thought it was 21 inches.
I went through, we do your shoulders, we do, your chest, all that. The measurements that went up, because we didn't just go down in all of our measurements. Our goal is to transform our shape a little bit. So growing some shoulders, our little derriere, we want to get a little bigger. We don't want that to go down. And that went up. Your bicep went up because we do two different measurements, right? We do relaxed and then we do flexed.
Yeah.
Relaxed measurement went down and your flexed went up. And that is so cool. The most you lost was a thigh, total 4 inches in one spot.
Wow. That's the one thing that honestly, Leah, that I had seen and I still continue to see, even like when I'm in the mirror working out.
Yeah.
This is terrible to say, but I was getting where I had no gap in between my thighs, and working out, I can see some light in between my legs now. So,
well, and then we're going to work on bringing that thigh gap back, like bring it back together.
That's fine. That's fine.
I get it though. Like when we were younger, the thigh gap was kind of like the thing. It was like, what we grew up, and we're close to a similar age. What we grew up thinking is, thinner is better. And if you had any kind of a muscular build in any way, some women would have to get very unhealthy to try and fit into this box that society told us was beautiful and attractive, and what a person we wanted to date wanted, so that's exciting. I love that.
Yeah.
That's just so cool. And then we were really only like 3 pounds different. So that's like, so obviously we don't use the scale for every measurement. We do use it, but that really tells us that we are dropping that body fat.
Yeah.
Which a pound of body fat takes up more space than a pound of muscle. So 3 pounds of body fat, I can see that. Like that was 21 inches, then we didn't lose muscle. And that's the big thing, that was the big thing about our process, was getting your nutrition up, getting the protein in, so that we don't drop this dramatic amount of weight in a short period of time, which in our mind gives us that dopamine hit, like 2 more pounds, 5 more pounds.
It's working. Yeah.
But what is that we're losing? And so that's what I want you to share your kind of, just like share about yourself, who you are, what you do, that your little fur babies back there, share about them.
Yeah.
And then I see them. And then like where you were at when we first started chatting, because we chatted for a little while before we took the plunge. And then like your experience along the way, what did you learn? What did you learn that you were like, didn't expect that? I just would love for you to share. So take it away.
All right. Well, you will have to remind me of all the things, but yeah, just a little bit about myself. So Jessica Weirman, I go by Jess or Jessie, either one. But yeah, I honestly, I had followed Leah for probably 3 years, if not longer. And obviously I've seen her transformation, which now I know is over 8 years from your post last night, which I was like, go girl, like that
Wow.
was crazy. But yeah, it was just obviously if you do or don't follow her, you should. But if you do follow her, you just know that she's extremely regimen, routine, inspirational, but transparent. And that's what aligned with me. So me personally, I've been with a technology company for a little over 11 years now. I also have a business with Arbonne, so health and nutrition, but for me, that was more finding foods that served my body in a way that I realized gluten, dairy, and soy is not, it just doesn't serve my body in the best way. But where I was missing was, okay, I did a really great healthy journey with Arbonne and loved it so much, got into the business, right? But I was lacking the knowledge, and I've always grown up in sports, but I was lacking the knowledge of walking into a gym and knowing where to even start. And I always had a coach or somebody growing up through middle school, through college ball, like all of it that was guiding you on, your workouts and what to do. And with my technology job of 11 years, it typically puts me on a plane every week and I'm traveling. And then 2020 happened and did the whole work from home thing, right? And it changed my whole routine, and I was a social butterfly and I lost a lot of that. So it was just this domino effect that I would definitely say there was a piece of me that, hate to say it, but definitely I went into like a bit of a depression. And what I typically do is I lean towards food, right? That's my thing. So, yeah, I definitely saw a fluctuation in my body. I'm 36. So we all know you hit your 30s, stuff happens. So all of those things were a combination that led me to this path. And yeah, so Leah was the one that her and I chatted, and we went over everything, and I really felt like her and I aligned, that we shared some commonalities, but she just got me. And that was what was appealing to me, that I thought, well, if I'm going to pay someone and to help me to do this journey, I want accountability, and I want somebody that's knowledgeable, that literally the proof's in the pudding. If you look at Leah's physique, you can absolutely see that, like, she works her tail off. She's earned what she has right now. We are our own worst critics. I look at Leah and say, oh my gosh, goals. But I know Leah looks at herself and is like, well, I could work on this or that. Like, as Leah coaches us, we're never quite done, but it definitely was a transformation with this whole process. So I think I covered everything, but let me know if I didn't, Leah.
Well, I wanted to see, well, there's a lot of things you chose differently, like your schedule, you changed.
Yeah.
I want you to share a little bit of like some of the things, some of the shifts that you made that you're like, I never thought I would do that. Or,
Yeah.
like that was a really smart move. And you're continuing to do stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think what Leah is referring to here is, is I am not an early bird. And actually with 2020 and not being on a plane anymore and getting the opportunity to work from home, I got where I was sleeping until 7:30, and that's great for some people. Like that's wonderful. I love that. If you do that, there's no judgment there. But for me and my lifestyle, my goals that I was trying to attain, I knew that it was going to take sacrifice in different areas, and not really sacrifice, just getting into a routine. And that was meal prepping for me. That was getting up earlier, which when I say I'm not an early bird, that is, I get up at 5:30 every morning now. And for me, that serves me, and it allows me to not feel so overwhelmed that when I have this laundry list of things to do every day between 2 jobs and technically 3, I care for my grandmother as well. And,
And
there's a lot.
a social life that would put everybody to shame. My gosh, it's like, I have 8 weddings I'm going to. We have a few girls' weekends this summer. I mean,
Yes.
you are busy. I see you
Busy.
constantly out. It's amazing.
Yep. So for me, I wasn't willing to sacrifice in any of those areas. So what I knew I had to do if I was going to commit the time and the money to a program like this was I needed to make some other sacrifices on my end. So the biggest one that I would say that aligned me in my life was getting up at 5:30. So I get up at 5:30 every morning now. I do my pre-workout, which Leah, I do a half a cup of grapefruit and I do my I always laugh muscle egg. And then I head to the gym. I'm there by 6:15. I knock my workout out. I come home and it just allows me I get to greet my husband when he wakes up, where normally I was sleeping. And, to me that matters because there's just not enough hours in the day. And I think the statistic is like quality time you spend with your spouse. I want to say it's like 18 minutes a day of quality time. And when you put that into perspective of life, I was like, well, that matters to me. So I want to maybe greet him in the morning now instead of being a snoozy, and I want to do my devotional. So it was all these different things that aligned with me. And then after 8 o'clock, I always say the day is not mine, no matter how structured my calendar is. We are all thrown fire drills throughout the day.
Yes.
And so I just knew that if I got up at 5:30, that would definitely lend to my success. And it has.
Absolutely. And you are very inspiring to so many people in the program who are still there. And just like you really made an impact because it was a balance of being able to do this process. And it's an involved process. It is a lifestyle change, but being able to still continue, like so many people have this misnomer that you can't have a life or you can't go out to eat, you can't travel. And that's so not true. And you proved that for sure, because you travel more in a month than I do probably in a year. You love to travel, and that's great.
Yes, we
went
do.
on a wonderful vacation. You got to enjoy things. Like, how has being able to continue on, have you made different choices? Are you living differently in those areas?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest gift that Leah gave to me is structure. I knew healthy, right? I don't want to say like I came into this ignorant, but I wasn't a pro, that's for sure. I'm not even close to a pro. I knew healthy choices, but for me, like Leah put a meal plan together that you actually weigh your food. And I know that may sound really tedious, but eventually you get in a groove of doing things and it's come natural to me now. But I was overeating in areas and I wasn't eating enough in areas. So for me, something I told Leah repeatedly is that I went on a few vacations during this 12-week program and I traveled for work and all the different things, but I felt in control. That was the biggest thing, that I knew what I could choose to eat. And, basically rule of thumb is like your lean protein should probably be the size of your fist. I have monkey hands, jumbo hands. So maybe not my hand, but I knew with what I was eating on a daily, like a typical size meal of what to choose. So all in all, I just felt in control. And I knew that I didn't you go on trips and you enjoy and you partake and I drink. I love a good margarita or whiskey or whatever. Like I will socialize and do my thing, but I knew that it wasn't necessarily the next day. I could make the choice on my next meal of whether or not that was going to be healthy for me. So I just felt in control. That was a huge gift.
That is awesome to hear, because that is what I feel so much of the unhealthy relationship that we have with food can come from not feeling control over what happens. So you can go now on a vacation, enjoy those margaritas and all the things, and then know that when you get, not even when you get back, but just even the next day, you could choose this and this and this to help mitigate that. And then when you got back home, you knew exactly where to pick up where you left off. And there was no question. There was no, gosh, I'm lost, and then just give up. So that is so wonderful to hear, because that is the gift I wanted you to receive. And not everybody receives that, that they receive different things based on where they're at. And you did have a healthy knowledge of things, being in Arbonne and that being part of your world, and being able, it was fun to incorporate those products as well into the plan that we're able to construct, if you will, to meet also your goals. And some of it we could, And
Yeah.
some of it we found it in food. And then we said, well, when we don't have it in food, we can do it in the supplement.
Right.
It's like you know where to place your supplements.
Yeah. Well, that was a huge testament to you too, Leah. Like it meant a lot that I'm in the business. I want to be a user of my products, and they have served
Sure.
me prior to the program. But that was something I asked Leah. I was like, listen, when we
Yeah.
had our conversation ahead of time, I was like, this is really important to me that, I do the protein shakes each day, and it's where I get all my vitamins and minerals, So I was like, this is really important to me. Can you incorporate it? With her knowledge and everything she does, she put together this beautiful meal plan that didn't make me sacrifice. It's so funny because when I started the program, I looked at the meal plan. I was like, okay, like, all right, we can do this. Well, it was so challenging for me to get in the food, all the food that she was giving us. I was like, she goes, just text me. I said, my message back to her was, which open line of communication all the time. Leah
Yeah.
responds like immediately, but that's rejig too. I'm just a quick fast, like get back. And I hate to make people wait, but I messaged Leah and I said, when I looked at the food plan, I was like, okay, this is great. But like, so when will we change it up? Like, is there going to be options down the road? And she goes, text me on the first day that you get through this and when you're consistent with it, and then we'll definitely look at options. It was almost, honestly, it was almost a week before I got through like a true successful full day of getting in all the food that she gave us. So you don't go hungry.
No, you don't. You
Yeah.
get very well fed. And that's a lot of what so mmany people are under eating, or eating at the
Yeah.
wrong times. We're just like learning where we can place all of these things. And, we want to fuel our body to do the things that we're asking it to do. So yes. And then you learned what you could substitute if something was
Yeah.
getting kind of old, or if you ran out of something, that happens to everybody. What can we use to substitute that? You got your food exchange list. There's so many elements to that it probably contributed to you feeling this empowerment of, I know
Absolutely.
what to do now. Like I
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What would you say to somebody who is feeling like they're on this up and down roller coaster, or they think maybe it's not for them for whatever reason, because they've had kids or they don't have time, or the time one's huge, or
Yeah.
they're too old, or, people that have a lot of these objections that they talk themselves out of pulling the trigger on something that they won't regret. What would you say to them?
I would say, obviously I went through it and it was something I deliberated on, and it was solely not because I'm going to speak to me, not because I didn't have the willpower. I knew I wanted this. I could do it. It was the time was my biggest thing. And what I did to accommodate that was I shifted and I said, well, stop staying up till midnight or 11 o'clock or whatever, and go to bed at a decent time, make yourself get up at 5:30. And once I did it for honestly a week and a half, now it literally is it's second nature to me. And I get so much more accomplished. I have so much more clarity, but all of that's a contributing factor, right? It's like I'm eating better for my body. I'm working out, that promotes endorphins, so many different things. So I'm just so much better of a person because I did the program. And that's where I would encourage somebody. And I would absolutely say this, that it takes a lot to get into the gym or even get your workout started if you're doing it from home, whatever it is that accommodates your lifestyle. But one thing I've never said is when I leave the gym, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
I always feel so much better when I leave the gym. And I'm proud of myself. It's like I get a little gold star for the day. So that's what I would say to somebody that's maybe on the fence. Like something I did prior to the program was I committed to a week of working out. Like, let me do a week of this, because Leah's program, I don't want to lie. Like it can be intense maybe for a life change initially, but you're working five to six times working out 5 to 6 times a week. That's a change for somebody, but they're like 45-minute workouts. You can get them done quickly, So I can't tell you how many times I scrolled on social media for 45 minutes, it would fly by, you know? So instead I reallocated my time to myself and my workouts. And I I would say yes 1,000 times over is what I'm gonna end up. So yeah,
Awesome. That is so awesome. I so appreciate you and just your perspective and everything that you were able to share. You were such a light to have in the program, and I just absolutely love you to pieces. So
oh,
thank
thanks,
you
babe.
so much for sharing your day with me and your
Yeah,
time. And we'll be checking back in with you and
deal.
doing some follow-ups. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, Leah, and thank you for giving. Honestly, I was something I was, like I said, I was hesitant about, and
Mhm.
you were not pushy in any way. You're like, on your time, girl, you know, like you just let me know when you're ready. Cause it takes a commitment from that person, me, you
Mhm.
know, Leah could say, yeah, I can do everything, but you got to have the buy-in of somebody that really wants to have
Yeah,
this transformation and be a better version of yourself. So anyway, so thank you to
absolutely.
you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And thank you. I really appreciate you so
You
much.
bet.
All right. Take care.
All right.